Health Styles Market YouTube. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the subject of highly sensitive people. It can be an adult or a child. And I'm just introducing it, and then I'm going to do a little series of short little additions to this subject to give you a better idea about what it is. So, a highly sensitive person is the name that was coined by Dr. Elaine Aron. This was her life's work. She's a PhD in psychology, and an interesting little point is that she herself is a highly sensitive person. So I've got her books and her video, and I've studied that for quite a while and find it very, very interesting. So in more modern times, we've got additional references. Dr. Ted Zeff is also a doctor with a PhD, and he carried on some of Elaine's work, especially for males, the strong, sensitive boy. And then there's some more recent ones. Susan Cain wrote a book called Quiet, and just helping people to be aware and how to kind of tune out all the chaos and noise externally. Dr. Chloe Carmichael is really interesting. She focused on the nervous energy, what it causes us to do, and how we can calm that all down. But I like these books because out of 100 people, up to 20%, these are the national averages, up to 20% are highly sensitive people. So what does that really mean? After reading and studying, this is my little definition of it. A highly sensitive person in those 20% of the population has a high IQ, a sensitive soul, and a too thin veil. So what does the veil part mean? It just commonly means that they feel overwhelmed, and they don't feel safe, and they don't feel protected. So there's a common misconception, and just know that Crystal will post these below our YouTube video, this class series, and you'll be able to click on that link and go to where she's posted these so you can either look at them or print them out for your own use. So what people think being highly sensitive means is it's just a bunch of people, 20%, who are highly emotional and irrational. And then I want to show you what it really means. So what does being a highly sensitive person really mean? They're empathetic, they're a deep listener, they're excellent with language, even little children, intuitive, a deep thinker, deep belief in justice, they're creative, deeply spiritual, detail-oriented, a visionary, a deep feeler, and an acute awareness of subtleties. So as a highly sensitive person, what they find, you often will notice this in a child, but they reflect their environment, and it all feels overwhelming. So anything that assaults the senses is usually affecting a highly sensitive person. So anything you see, anything you hear, anything you taste, the texture, anything you feel, all of those kinds of things just feel like they're ramped up for a highly sensitive person. And maybe it isn't like that to the other 80% in the room, but it feels like, or at the event, but it feels like that to the highly sensitive person. So when we have a child that's a highly sensitive person, another term that's kind of more recent I've noticed on Facebook is a psychologist who's a child psychologist uses the term deeply feeling child, deeply feeling children. I think, yeah, you can see that. Once you become aware of this, you can see that evidenced in them. So when we have all this chaos for the child, we're going to use as an example, the best thing we can do as a parent or grandparent is help teach them how to have a better veil. What does that mean? Just that they feel protected. They feel free to say no thank you, or no, that isn't going to work for me, or I'd rather not, thank you anyway. There's nice ways to say no, but they often need just a little bit more protection in order for them individually and personally to feel safe and free in that social setting, whatever it might be. I also noticed that I have customers that talk about being an empath. And so the real distinct difference is that they are a sensitive person of sorts, but their sensitivity tends to be focused on others around them, loved ones, family, friends, social settings, whatever. And so they're very aware of others. And a highly sensitive person can be an empath also. But a highly sensitive person, to really grow and thrive in their life, needs to learn these barriers and boundaries so that they don't feel this constant onslaught all the time, and that their real true decisions and feelings are coming from within rather than being influenced from without. So we go back to those 100 people, and only up to 20% are highly sensitive people. It very much interests me. I have a huge clientele of customers who are highly sensitive people. So we don't outgrow this trait. People are born with it, and they have it through their whole entire lifetime. They often feel misunderstood, unable to cope. I notice the word overwhelm for them. And so they need to learn a little bit more about coordination, organization, having their ducks in a row, you might say, in order to thrive in their own environment. So we'll put all these listings of these books that may interest you. You may want to go to the library and see if they can library loan it for you. I bought these two off of Amazon. And this is actually an author from, I want to say he's from England. But it made all the difference when I discovered this little book. The author is James Williams. This book can be read in an hour. And it is the most helpful description, usable. We know what to do far better in the next interaction with our own child after we've read this book. It is just amazing. This is his second book, Supporting the Highly Sensitive Child. They have interesting reactions to things. And I haven't marked this one up like I have this book. But if you were only to buy one book, this book called Understanding the Highly Sensitive Child, that's now been out for over 10 years, Seeing an Overwhelming World Through Their Eyes. I think it was, I can't remember. I think it was less than $15, and it'll be the best money you've spent to get this to understand a little bit better about your child. So I think you'll find this highly interesting. I'd love to have you join me. I'm going to do a series of classes on this, short little classes that Crystal will just add to this until we have a whole full class on being a highly sensitive person, or understanding your child better, or your spouse, or your parent, whoever is highly sensitive in your life. And it's teaching you or them, or giving you the ability to help your highly sensitive person in your life to go from struggling to thriving. And until they learn some of this information and some of the tips and tricks, they can feel just overburdened, exhausted with the onslaught to their senses. And their big key word is overwhelmed. Now, my little grandchildren my 3-year-old is not going to be saying, I feel overwhelmed, even though you can see it in her actions and reactions. But the more we learn this, the more we can benefit ourselves if we're a highly sensitive person, or benefit our loved ones. So I hope you'll join me in this new class about being a highly sensitive person, and we'll see you in the next clip. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.